Dodgers have done something brilliant, and it's starting to pay off now. They've been doing it all season. It's paying dividends, and it will in the postseason. Also, what can we take away from the Dodgers-Padres series? How it impacts the roster. The Dodgers swept the Padres once again, and they began a stretch of 10 games in a row. That's coming up next on Dodgers Dugout Live.
It's time for Dodger baseball.
Welcome to Dodger Stadium.
This is the golden age of Dodger baseball. The Dodgers are building a dynasty.
You guys wanted a parade? We got a parade. The Dodgers punch back and head to the championship series. Ohtani starts the 50-50 club. Mookie magic. Freeman hits the ball to right field. She is gone. Start the party, Los Angeles. Your Dodgers have won the World Series.
Think blue, bleed blue, and I'm out.
What is up, Dodgers Nation, and welcome to another episode of Dodgers Dugout Live, the #1 Dodgers podcast and Dodgers show on YouTube. My name is Doug McKain. Cover the Dodgers for Dodgers Nation. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMAC_LA. If you are new to the channel, do us a huge favor. Join the party. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the notification bell. Hit that like button as well. Everyone always asks me, how do you support this show every day? Hit the like button. Also, drop a comment down below. You can also join the Big Leads, my other channel, and our Discord. So the Discord is popping. All Padres series, Dodgers fans talking ball 24/7, 365. So definitely go and join our Discord. Go to gearup.la to get our merch. This is a live show. We are looking for the best comments, the hottest takes, the funniest comments, the best questions that will feature later during the 7th inning stretch. And we've got producer Noel. He is looking for your comments all show long, and he'll feature them, and we'll talk about that later. The Dodgers Dugout Live poll question of the show. I asked you guys, who is the Dodgers' biggest threat in the National League? And right now, 15% say the Padres, 66% say the Brewers, 17% say the Phillies, and 2% say other. So let me know down below after the Dodgers swept the Padres. Has changed the way you look at that team as a threat. But guys, it's Monday. We've got so much Dodger baseball to get into. So let's get right into it.
Leading off, the hottest story in Dodger baseball.
So the hottest story in Dodger baseball is, once again, the Dodgers' backs were a little against the wall, and it came at the hands of the San Diego Padres. And once again, the Dodgers got the best of San Diego. It was sweep Diego. They took all 3 games against the Friars. And now the Dodgers find themselves with a 2-game lead in the National League West. And now that the Dodgers have gone 8-2 against the Padres this season, they take the season series, and now you have the tiebreaker. So that's essentially good for 1 extra game. So essentially, it says it's a 2-game lead, but in essence, it is a 3-game lead. That's why it was so important to go and get that series win and take the season series. I see Merc Machine give us the shoey daddy D-Mac. I'm going to give it to you tonight after you watch the post-game show. And I'm going to do it the last minute of the post-game show, so you watch every single minute of it. So tune in tonight, Dodgers, Rockies, Yamamoto on the mound. We'll do the shoey on the post-game show. But for this series, I think we learned a lot. I think we learned a lot about this Dodgers team, and we learned a lot about this Padres team. And I think what we learned about this Dodgers team is they know what they're doing when it comes to roster construction. And Andrew Friedman, a couple days ago, he doubled down on not going crazy and selling your farm to get a bullpen with Mason Miller and have a team that is filled with elite relievers. Well, guess what? The vision that the Dodgers had in the offseason, throughout the regular season, it's starting to materialize now. The Dodgers got 17 innings from their starting pitching. And yes, that's not great by standards of years past, but by today's standards, when you consider the innings that they've gotten from their starting rotation for most of the season, that is a great number. And not only that, you got really good starts from Clayton Kershaw, who put this team on his back on Friday and he pitched to Jim. Blake Snell, he pitched a shutout on Saturday. And then Tyler Glasnow, he had mostly ups, occasionally had some downs yesterday, but you had 3 guys going that are ace level starters. And then your offense is better than the Padres offense. That's the big difference in this, is when the lights get bright, Manny Machado, 1 for 12 this weekend. Fernando Tatis Jr., not much more success. And the truth is, you can have Mason Miller, but guess what? That Lamborghini was in the garage and it was collecting dust. And the Padres, their vision of, okay, we're going to put together this super team and we're going to take down the Dodgers. And yes, there's still 38 games to play. Fangraphs does give the Dodgers an 84% chance of winning the National League West. But let's be honest here. As great as that Padres roster looks, AJ Preller wouldn't think twice about trading every single one of those guys for every single one of the guys that's on the Dodgers roster. So a lot has been made about this Dodgers-Padres rivalry. And yes, it's entertaining at times. But this weekend, we didn't see guys throwing at guys. We didn't see players jawing at each other. Manny Machado was upset about a call. But that was towards the umpire. You didn't see players going back and forth. You didn't see the benches clear. You didn't see any brawls. You didn't see Dave Roberts versus Mike Schild or anything like that. And I think the reason for that is the Dodgers don't view the Padres in that light, and I don't think they ever will. Here was Mookie Betts after the game when he was asked about this series and if a sweep of the Padres is more important than any other sweep versus another team. Here was Mookie on what this series win meant for this team.
Nothing. I think we just have to focus on Colorado tomorrow. Go play good baseball there, and then we'll see San Diego again. So we can't get caught up in the emotions. Yeah, I think so. We were to hold leads and tack on runs late. So we just played a good brand of baseball this weekend. But again, it's we still got a long way to go.
So that was Mookie Betts, and I think that's the right mindset to have. Don't buy into the Padres-Dodgers thing. Buy into the, hey, we need to win games because our ultimate goal is to win the World Series. And it just so happens that that team wearing gold and brown with an SD lettering on their hat is in front of them. And that's the approach they took. It was big that they swept the series, but it wasn't big that they swept this specific Padres team. They wish that that's what the Dodgers were saying. They want them to act like that, but that wasn't the case. But it was big in the fashion that they have won. One thing I talked about during the preview on Friday was the Dodgers in one-run games during that slide after July 3rd, when they let a 9-game lead in the division start to dwindle. One of the big issues for the Dodgers during that stretch was finishing off one-run games and blowing saves from your bullpen. They had blown 4 saves in their last 7 games heading into the series. And in one-run games, the Dodgers, since July 4th, heading into this series, had gone 3-9 in one-run games. And through the first part of this season, when they were playing well, when they were leading Major League Baseball, they were good in one-run games. I mean, they were over 500. Now they're 21-18 in one-run games. Yesterday, you saw the end. Alex Vesia getting the final 5 outs with an up-down. Mookie Betts coming through, hitting a big home run on a 2-0 count, a fastball off Robert Suarez. That is what you do in one-run games, is your bullpen steps up and they get key outs, and then your offensive players find a way to have a special moment, and that was certainly a special moment. And we saw Friday, you won 3-2. That's a win in a one-run game. And then Sunday, you win in a one-run game. So they had bookend wins with one-run games, and that was crucial. And it speaks to this being a more complete team with starting pitching, who went 17 innings, pitched well. The bullpen, 10 innings, gave up 3 runs. And the offense, where you get 5 runs yesterday, 6 runs on Saturday, and then you win a tight one with timely hits and sacrifice flies and just putting the ball in play. Shohei Ohtani, he ground out. They got a run from that. You got a late home run from Hyeseong Hernandez. So it's timely hits. It's slugging when you need to. It's clutch hits down at the end of games like we saw yesterday. But the fact that you're winning tight games, that feels like you're winning a postseason game. And that's, I think, the mode that this team is starting to get into. Here was Freddie Freeman after the game talking about how big this series was as far as just beating a team in close fashion like that.
I think it was big, obviously. I mean, like I told David on the field, it all starts with our starting pitching. Our starting pitching was really, really good this series. It sets the tone for us. Offensively, we scored enough runs today. We couldn't really get much going until Mook got that insurance run that we needed. But overall, just a quality weekend of baseball that we played. Yeah, I think it's just like I was saying, you got to win the close games. We've had our fair chances to win games by 1 or 2 runs, and we just weren't able to pull them off during the last week, and we were able to pull them off this week. So, got to go into Colorado. It's a tough place to play. So we got to keep it going and keep our foot on the gas. I mean, I think that's for the media. I think we all know who we are in here in this team and how good we can be. We just got to play good baseball like we did this weekend, and we got now it's a little bit of a sprint. So about 38, 39 games left. I think that's outside. We know who we are inside, and got to keep it going.
So it is definitely a sprint down the finish, and I think there's a renewed sense of focus. I think this team is locked in, and I know Dave Roberts said that it's a dangerous way to live to try to flip a switch. I think they have flipped a switch. I truly believe that. I think that this team sees that postseason light at the end of the tunnel. They know they have the roster to do something special, so they are going to make sure they put themselves in the best position to do something that hasn't been done in a long time, and that is repeat as World Series champions. And Mookie Betts, you got to give this guy a lot of love. You got to give this guy a lot of credit. I mean, all the trades that the Padres made, well, guess what? Mookie Betts is hitting like that all-star hitter once again. He's hitting like Mookie Betts has throughout most of his career here. And whether that be the ovation from last Monday, whether that be JD Martinez, whether that be some mechanical cues that are allowing him to have more success, I think it's a mindset thing. I think him taking it one at-bat at a time, one game at a time, not thinking about his overall season numbers, that every single category are going to most likely be career worse. It's how do I help this team win today? It almost feels like he has entered a new season for Mookie Betts. And since that ovation, Mookie Betts is hitting .313, a .370 on base, .479 slug, a .137 weighted runs created plus, 2 home runs, 9 RBI. He's looking like Mookie Betts once again. 54 plate appearances already, where it looks like you're not going to have to tinker with the top of that lineup. One of the big questions down the stretch was, do you move Mookie to 6? Do you move him to 7? Do you move him to leadoff? What do you do with Mookie Betts? Now this takes a lot of pressure off Dave Roberts and this organization if Mookie Betts continues to hit like he has in the last couple of weeks. Because if he does that, then you're not worried as much about run production. And I think, too, you're also thinking to yourself, wait a second, not only do we not have to worry about the lineup, now we can feel better about this lineup because you're not going to have Max Muncy for a while. And hopefully he comes back towards the end of the season, finds a rhythm, and then does Max Muncy things for this offense. But it's going to be key for Mookie Betts and Hyeseong Hernandez, who have had down seasons by their standards, to continue the production that we saw from those guys over the weekend. Hyeseong Hernandez, 2 home runs. Yesterday, it was inexcusable. I have to say that. You got to run that out if you're Hyeseong Hernandez. There was a hit that should have been a double, ends up a single, and then Paz gets a base hit that would have scored a run. So, hey, we know Johnny Hustle plays for the other team, right? We don't want to see that for the Dodgers. I know he has been dealing with a foot injury, a groin injury, and that could have been a factor dealing with that, but still, the offense is a good spot. And I think Mookie Betts' turnaround is the feel-good story of the year for the Dodgers. I truly do believe that. And you got to always remember that when players are great and then they have a really big decline, the Chris Davis situation, right? And Chris Davis wasn't a Hall of Famer, But when you have Hall of Famers and MVPs and All-Stars that drop very precipitously, you can usually point it to one thing or another. I mean, we were talking to Adrian Gonzalez last week, and he told us kind of the big difference for a guy like Mookie Betts is he's not 6'4", 230 chiseled, right? He's not 6'6", Aaron Judge, where the margin for error on your contact is thin. He has to hit the ball at a certain way, and if he loses 10 pounds of muscle, that's going to impact his power. It's going to be the difference between a fly out and a home run. You don't see Mookie Betts' ball, his home run balls going out of the parking lot, right? You don't see his home run bombs going deep into the bleachers. His are, okay, home run seats, scraping the wall, couple rows in. So I do think that he's gotten stronger the further he's gotten away from that stomach illness from the beginning of the season, where he said that his stomach was eating itself. I think the further removed he gets from that, the confidence that he's starting to have now, and the fact too, I looked at his numbers last night, and if he was having this success and he had an extremely high batting average on balls in play, it's actually at 302, which is close to league average. And if he wasn't hitting the ball very hard, I'd be like, okay, this is a guy that is having some good fortune right now. But you're seeing harder contact, you're seeing better at bats, and I think that there is a lightness to him, as Dave Roberts said yesterday, because he's accepted the fact that you can't change your numbers for the first couple months of the season. You can't change the fact that when you look back at Mookie Betts' 2025 season years from now, and you say, wait a minute, why is Mookie's numbers down that much? What happened this year? Nothing he's going to do in the last 38 games is going to change that significantly. It can go up. Look at Max Muncy did in a month. But the benefit that Mookie Betts has that a lot of players around this league don't have is, for example, if Mike Trout has a bad season, and he's having not like Mike Trout has definitely declined, right? He's not super Mike Trout, best player in baseball anymore. But if Mike Trout is having a bad season, his season's over. It's it. They're a fourth place team, and it's all see you in spring training. That's it. If you have a bad season on the Dodgers, there's so many opportunities to make up for it and feel good about the way your season ends, right? Kike Hernández has a chance to come back and help his team in the postseason. Tommy Edman has a chance to come back and help this team in the postseason. And then Mookie Betts, he has a chance to finish this season strong, help them win a division, and then help them win another World Series. And if all of those things happen, no one, I guarantee you, no one, even the biggest haters in the world, will not be talking about how they slumped to start the year. It is not how you start, it's how you finish. And it's about being at your best when this team needs you in October. And I think that things are trending in that direction. But here was Mookie Betts after the game talking about how his swing is feeling, what that moment meant for him to hit that go-ahead home run in the bottom of the eighth against Robert Suarez.
It gives me a lot, but, kind of every bat is the same at this point, just try and do something productive. So it definitely helps not carry burdens from previous at-bats.
Not to ask the obvious, but how nice did it feel, kind of connecting on that ball like that and having a moment like that?
It felt good. It's been a long time, but kind of is what it is. It's done and over with now, and you got to focus on finishing the season strong because this is a tight race. Yeah, I feel pretty normal now. It's just a matter of just continuing to put together good at-bats, but I feel pretty normal. Just finally I did something good for the boys. That's with the bat. I feel like I've done a decent job with the glove, but with the bat, I haven't really been able to help much. So it's just good to help him.
Yeah, I think Mookie's been very good for a couple of weeks now. Anything you can take with confidence-wise, that was huge. 2-0 fastball. He was able to stay through it, backspin a ball, hit it over the fence in a big situation. Been saying it all the last few weeks. Mookie Betts is going to be Mookie Betts, and no one here is worried about him. So good to see him get some results. He's been working hard, and obviously the last couple of weeks have been much better.
Great to hear that. Great to hear that support from Freddie Freeman. I bet you Mookie Betts has already had this thought a million times. Man, I'm glad I signed that 12-year, $365 million deal with the Dodgers. But this has to be another example of, hey, you can play in a big market and have your fan base show you some love, and that love actually translate to you at least feeling better about yourself, playing better, of course, we know on the East Coast, if he was for the Red Sox, imagine if Mookie was with the Red Sox. He was having this kind of season, the boos he'd be hearing, the things that he would be hearing from those crowds. You ever been to Fenway? Have you ever been to Fenway and hear some of the things those fans say to those players? I'm not going to, hey, people out there bullying works, whatever. No. Have you ever been to Fenway? Can you imagine what they'd be saying to Mookie Betts? So it's great to see Dodgers Nation really showing him the love. Some super chats here. Mr. Skinny Jeans 990. We'll get to that one. Disfu66. I like that username at Disfu66. A 499 super chat. Asked a Padres fan what their favorite show was. They said the first 48. There you go. Rack 'em. A little comment of the show right there. I like that. First 48. Man, I binged that for 2 weekends and then I never watched it again. But great show and a great joke. I love that. Speedster 2000. D-Mac, is it weird that the bullpen feels slightly better without Yates and Scott? I would say it doesn't, to be honest with you. I think based on probably your perception, that the fact that Tanner Scott has 7 blown saves this season, that he hasn't been productive. I mean, he had an entire month where he had a 1.35 ERA. And the truth is, their upside is much higher. Their ceiling is much higher with Tanner Scott and Kirby Yates. And we're going to talk about those guys in a little bit. And let's be honest here. I mean, that's big time recency bias, because you're basing that off of this weekend where did Alexis Diaz pitch his best, hit a batter? I mean, Anthony Bonda, even on the night before, on the Friday game, I mean, there's certain moments where not all your bullpen's always going to be lights out, but the Angels series, their bullpen imploded, and Tanner Scott and Kirby Yates weren't on that team. And did you feel good about that bullpen then, or do you feel good about them, the fact that they went 10 innings and gave up 3 runs against the Padres? So I know a lot of fans are not giving Tanner Scott the support because they feel like because you got a $72 million deal and hasn't been lights out the entire season, that it doesn't feel like he's won over most Dodgers fans. But the truth of the matter is he's going to be a very important piece for this team, and they're going to give him every opportunity to be put in those situations where he can prove himself. So I still feel like this bullpen hasn't even gotten close to being the bullpen that Andrew Friedman in this organization envisioned them being. And I got some of that I'm going to tell you later. I think the Dodgers have done something smart this season, so we'll get into that. But I want to give some love to Alex Vesia. Alex Vesia has been the heart and soul of this Dodgers bullpen this year. Alex Vesia has posted all season long. Every time they called his number in the bullpen, he's gone out there and he's had himself a great season. Alex Vesia, who yesterday did an up-down, got 5 big outs. Heading into that appearance, he had allowed runs in his last 4 appearances. I did ask Dave Roberts about Alex Vesia on Saturday and if he was concerned at all about his recent struggles, and he told me no. He said that, look, this happens, right? Guys are going to have their innings where you give up runs, you don't have the command, and I think the concern for me was the velocity was a little down, the command was a little down, he looked like he was possibly a little tired. But Vesia has posted a 2.81 ERA in 51 1/3 innings this year. He's been their best high leverage guy from wire to wire. And yesterday, Alex Vesia, after he made his appearance in the 8th, he went to Dave Roberts and asked Doc to throw him back out there in the 9th.
I mean, obviously we got the 2 outs, the run scored, we were tied, and then they told me I was done, and I was just like, no, like I don't, you know. So I told Doc, I walked up to him, I was like, hey, like if we're up, I want it. And he was like, okay, you got it. Sure enough, Mook, bang, home run. Sweet, let's go. So then after that, it was just 1 pitch at a time. So it's a great win, and on to the next one. We got Colorado. It's just the dog, right? That we still have that, right? That doesn't just go away. Every single one of us, we're leaning on each other, and we know as a group how good we are. Today, and last 3 games, it's shown. And that's from one guy picking up the next. We kind of call it passing the torch. But yeah, it was. You get kicked down in this game from time to time, right? And yeah, we put our heads down and we're going to keep going. I mean, we knew coming into it that this was going to be a great series. We play the Padres great every time. They play us great every time. It's actually, I look forward to the series just because it's 2 talented groups, and we put together 3 really good games, and we got like 40 more, so we got to keep going. I mean, 3-2, Dodger Stadium's going crazy, so I'm a big adrenaline guy. That's what I feed off the most, and Dodger Stadium brings the best in me.
So I love that from Alex Vesia. I mean, he was an absolute dog. I loved his comment about the dogs being back. And the truth is that dogs bite when they're feeling territorial, when something they value is being threatened. And I think you're going to get those dogs to come out of that bullpen once again when push comes to shove. You're not going to have them come out in May and June and in July. Yes, they're going to perform at their best capabilities, but that dog comes out when they really start to feel like, oh, these guys are trying to take something that we own, something that we want. And that's why you saw that dog make that appearance yesterday. Alex Vesia always making you want to run through a brick wall. But the fact that he took that upon himself during a stretch where he wasn't at his best. I mean, it'd be one thing if Alex Vesia had just pitched 20 scoreless innings and wanted to be thrown in that situation, but that tells you the confidence that he has in himself to know that, hey, yeah, I've been struggling a little late, but hey, I want to do an up down. I want to go at this Padres team and I want to shut it down. And he shut down Manny Machado and he struck him out to end the game. And he showed that fire and that passion that you love from him. And here was Dave Roberts talking about the bullpen, the series, and the decision to go with Alex Vesia there in the 9th.
I thought they did a good job of picking each other up. Obviously, it was really good to see Vesia do an up-down and get a save right there, and he wanted that opportunity if we took a lead. And so that was good right there. Felt good about that. I think that reset him, and also Blake, getting him, I think his outing resets him. And so, the guys just picked each other up. And like I said that other night, I mean, he's pitched huge ball games for us. So, it's not going to be linear all the time with performance, but you just believe in the guy. And it was good to see him, ride it today with a great outing.
There you go, Dave Robertson. Hey, you got to love that trust and that confidence that he has in his guy. And just the series overall. I mean, I think this team, they know that they're a better team than the Padres on paper. They know they're a better team than the Padres if they execute. The difference between the Dodgers and the Padres is for the Padres to win the World Series, they have to beat through the Dodgers, right? For the Padres to win the World Series, they have to beat the Dodgers. For the Dodgers to win the World Series, they just can't beat themselves. When the Dodgers face off with the Padres have to bring their A game and hope the Dodgers bring their B game. But if both are playing their A game, Dodgers win. If both are playing their B game, Dodgers win. If the Padres are playing their A+ game, the Dodgers play their B+ game, they can still win. Reason for that is when the Dodgers faced against the Padres, they get a little nervous. They don't play their best. They were sloppier than a soup sandwich on Saturday, getting thrown out on the base pass, Jackson Merrill dropping a ball. Contrast that with yesterday. Andy Paz makes a great play to throw a runner out that helps save a run. It's the little things that separate this team, but also just the Dodgers have better players overall. I mean, the talent on this team is better. Dylan Cease, 6 walks? Michael King injured. Yu Darvish got rocked. Nick Pivetta, we'll see how that plays out. The Dodgers said, go build your little superstar bullpen. Go build that super bullpen and trade away all those pieces. And we'll roll with this starting rotation that's absolutely elite. And we're going to lean on them. And they did that during this series. And then our offense, we know is better. They had trouble scoring. The Dodgers scored just enough. And I think it was pretty funny to think that these Padres fans, after hanging that banner, right, first place in the National League West for a day and a half, and it felt like they thought they had won this division in August. The Dodgers crumbling. Padres won the trade deadline, getting hot at the right time. This is the year we beat the Dodgers in the division. By the way, Padres haven't won this division since 2006. I think Noel was even born then. Noel was what, 2?
I was 4.
He was 4.
Well, you said 2006, right? Yeah, 4.
4. Oh, it was 4.
Not born yet. It's crazy.
I mean, I don't know. Who knows, right? No, it was 4, right? And it kind of got me thinking. I was afraid that if one of my big fears is if the Padres won this series, that we were going to have to start to see the "That's What's In" again. You know, the "That's What's In" jingle.
That's what's in. That's what's in.
I didn't want to see that, right? I didn't want to see it. But this weekend, the Dodgers didn't go down to the yellow and brown.
That's what's in. That's what's in.
Padres were in first, but against the Dodgers, they played their worst.
That's what's in. That's what's in.
The Dodgers didn't lose, and all Manny heard was boos.
That's what's in.
Padres fans started to laugh, but they were only in first place for a day and a half.
That's what's in. That's what's in.
Okay, I'll stop. I promise I'll stop. I'll give myself a bruh there. But that's just the truth of the matter is I really feel like moving forward, this is a Dodgers team that's in a great spot. And I think that they know that what's ahead of them. And it was a big win for them, but it was because they were the Padres. It was because of the rivalry. It was because of the back and forth between them two. Let's be honest. The Dodgers have the plot armor. The Dodgers have the plot armor. What's the plot armor? That is a literary device where the main character in the plot, they're so vital to the plot that regardless of whether their survival is logical or it's consistent, that they're going to continue to have a presence. They are the main character. They have the plot armor. The Padres are NPC, right? They're the side character. I think we saw this weekend, it's the Dodgers versus the Dodgers the rest of the way. And if they play up to their abilities, they're going to be just fine. And here was Dave Roberts talking about the series win.
Very satisfying, considering where we were 4 days ago. Just the way we, ramped up the focus, the intensity, and obviously, winning 3 ball games here. Very tight ball games, well-played games, and, to come out of it with 3 wins is huge going into Denver. It was huge. Certainly feel a lot different than a week ago. Today was the pen. I thought the pen did a great job. I thought Tyler did a great job. And obviously for, I think, 6 innings, we were held scoreless after that first inning. Obviously a huge hit early by Freddie. But to really weather that inning, the last couple innings of a couple runs, and then to, get that big hit off a really good closer was big. And, feel a lot better today than a week ago.
So that was Dave Roberts. I love that. By the way, I know I glazed Clayton Kershaw, and all my devout Kirstians are happy today for the performance he had on Friday. And I do believe that this series, if I had to pick a series MVP, my series MVP is Clayton Kershaw between these two, because he set the tone on Friday, went 6 innings, gave up 1 run on 2 hits, 3 strikeouts, 1 walk, gave the home run to Laureano on a hanging breaking ball. But outside of that, working with a fastball that averaged 89.7 miles per hour, did touch 90 a few times. For him to set the tone the way that he did, he's my series MVP. I want to ask Noel. Noel, you got a series MVP you want to roll with?
Ooh.
It's tough. You got Teo hit a couple homers.
Yep.
I mean, you can look at Mookie in the clutch hit. Hey, don't forget our boy Michael Conforto.
Hey,
he had a single that led to a run in this game. Then he had a couple hits. I think Conforto was big, but
I heard you're still selling very limited stock, very limited property.
I sold some, and I tried to buy back because I was quick enough that no one had picked it up.
Well, you own Michael Conforto Island, so you're the one that's selling all the property there.
That is true. I do own it. I do own it, and it's in my portfolio. So
yep.
If I'm opening that up again. I tweeted out Michael Conforto Truthers Rise, and in parentheses I put, am I the only one? And half the comments are, yeah, you're the only one. You're the only one. Lonely
All right,
D-Mac.
I'll switch it up for my series MVP, bro. I'll go with Will Smith.
Will Smith, I like that.
He threw 3 Padres out. It was barely the second inning.
That was huge. I mean, that's a fantastic point.
And then on Thursday when I talked to him, he told me they were going for the sweep. Now it's Monday. They got the sweep.
That's a good point. That's a good point. He said they wanted the sweep. He got the sweep. But it just goes to show that, hey, even if you're not going to get hits, you got to contribute any way you can. I think it's kind of the Mookie mindset. Help this team win a game every single day. And Will Smith certainly did that. I mean, you had Blake Snell on the mound. He gave 4 of the first 5 Padres got hits in that game, and they weren't able to score, and it's because of Will Smith. So I like that. I love that. That's your guy, Smitty. That's your boy there. By the way, look at this. First, I have no idea why this is here. Like Mr. Gary Lee, owner of Dodgers Nation, this is an autographed Clayton Kershaw baseball. I have zero idea why it's here, but I'm gonna touch it though. I'm gonna touch the ink on it because he was using the pen to touch that. So yeah, this is.
Move it to the middle, Doug, because that lights it right there. Yeah, put it right there.
Yeah, look at this Clayton Kershaw autographed. I mean, I would give this away if I could. I don't know if I can though. I'm gonna give this away. I'm giving this away, and the winner is at DMac_LA is the winner of the Clayton Kershaw autographed baseball. No, of course, I'm only kidding. But all right, guys, coming up next, the Dodgers have done something really smart this year, and I think it's starting to pay off. And also, some big injury updates. Tommy Edman, Max Muncy, Kirby Yates, Tanner Scott, Mile Kopech. We'll get into those guys next on Dodgers Dugout Live. Welcome to the Dodgers Nation Podcast Network, your front row seat to everything Dodgers all season long. Home of the #1 Dodgers podcast in the world, Dodgers Dugout Live, hosted by me, Doug McKain. Friends call me D-Mac, and we cover everything about your boys in blue. Everything you need to know about Dodger baseball in less than an hour. We've got breaking news, post-game breakdowns, roster updates, trade rumors, in-depth player analysis, Dodgers trivia, you name it. Whether it's a wild walk-off at the Ravine, a key call-up from OKC, we've got the insight, we got the coverage, and we're here for you all year long. We're the #1 Dodgers site on every platform, and we're born and based in LA. We're loyal to the soil. Dodger baseball is what we do. Trusted by tens of thousands of daily listeners, Dodgers Nation is more than just recaps. We are LA. Whether you're in Echo Park or out in the Valley, Beverly Hills, whatever it is, if you bleed blue, this pod's for you. The more you guys subscribe, the bigger we can build, and we can do this together. So stay up to date with our Dodgers Nation post-game shows and breakdowns and podcasts. You can listen while you're lifting, while you're in traffic, or while pretending to answer work emails. We won't tell. Subscribe now on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your baseball fix. So if you're a new listener or a longtime listener of the podcast, write us a review and we'll read it on the show. Join the conversation, stay ahead of the game, and never miss a pitch with the Dodgers Nation Podcast Network. And welcome back to Dodgers Dugout Live, the #1 Dodgers podcast, the Dodgers show on YouTube. Some comments. We got Mr. Skinny Jeans. We're going to answer that one later. Nando D-Mac rapping like Mark Madsen is dancing. Okay, I'll give myself a bra. Now I'll give myself a finish him. Give myself I'll give myself a let's go Dodgers too. We got Philip Subia, D-Mac turned into Eminem. What's up, Philip Subia? Okay, here in our next segment, I want to talk about this bullpen a little bit because I think the biggest development for me was the fact that you could trust the bullpen once again in big spots. And they came through all weekend long. It was not perfect, but guys were picking each other up. I thought yesterday, Ben Kasparius really made the pitch of the game, I think. I mean, as far as it being a close game and the Dodgers needing someone to step up in a big spot, Ben Kasparius, who's been huge all season long, and they've used him in different roles. He comes in there, goes 2/3 of an inning, gives up no runs. And in that moment for Ben Kasparius, you just felt like this Padres team was going to do everything they could to try to salvage this series. And the opportunity they had to do that was in that top of the 6th inning. Like I said, not every bullpen guy was lights out every single inning, every single moment. Anthony Bonda had some good moments in this weekend series, but top of the 6th, he was supposed to get out the lefties. It wasn't able to do that. Sheets got the double to left. Bogarts, he struck out. Then he gave that double to O'Hearn that scored Sheets to make it a 4-3 game. And then Benny C comes in. hits Laureano with a pitch. A couple batters later, you got Fermin at the plate, and he dots a 99-mile-per-hour heater on the corner to end the inning. So that could have tied things up. You get out of that. And then we talked about Vesia. We talked about Alexis Diaz. He comes in there, hits Bogarts with a pitch. Then he gave that double to Laureano. And then Vesia had to come in to clean up the mess. And then Blake Treinen also had some big moments this series as well. I think Blake Treinen is starting to look more like the Blake Treinen that we see in the postseason. The 7th inning, gave no runs on a hit. You're seeing that soft contact. He struck out Tatis with a nasty sweeper, got him to chase. And I look at this bullpen, and sometimes I like to play Dodgers Mythbusters on the show, where I kind of look at a lot of the parroted takes that I hear involving the Dodgers, whether it be national media and guys on TV shows, and you can tell that they're having pre-show production meetings. And they're like, okay, we're going to talk about the Dodgers today. What's your biggest concern with them? What's the biggest weakness for the Dodgers? And then they look up their bullpen, and then they say to themselves, oh, well, there you go. The bullpen hasn't been good. ERA is over 4, and they pitch the most innings in baseball. And yes, while that is true, the Dodgers bullpen has pitched the most innings in the sport at 526 and 2/3 innings. That is 26 more than the next highest team in the Chicago White Sox. Let's think about who has pitched those innings and which of those guys are going to be included in the postseason bullpen. So the most innings pitched by a Dodgers reliever this year, Ben Kasperius, 61 and 2/3 innings. So for him, he's a guy, still throw 99, young, still feel good about him. Anthony Bonda's second at 54 and 1/3 innings. Jack Dreyer, 52 innings. Vesia, 51 and 1/3 innings. Tanner Scott, 45 and 2/3 innings. All those guys, you definitely give them hard looks. Lots of locks to make that postseason bullpen. Vesia and Scott, the true locks of that group. But let's go to the next guy. Justin Robleski, 39 and 2/3 innings. Is he going to be in the postseason bullpen right now? No. Kirby Yates, 31 and 1/3 innings. The way he's using his lower body again, if he can find it, absolutely he'll be in it. But next guy, Luis Garcia, 27 and 1/3 innings. Lou Trevino, 24 and 1/3 innings. Matt Sauer, 23 and 2/3 innings. Will Klein, 10 and 2/3 innings. Other guys, Julian Fernandez, JP Fireeisen, Ryan Ludus, Jack Little, Jose Urena, Chris Stratton, Yoandres Gomez, Evan Phillips, Noah Davis, Miguel Rojas, Kike Hernandez, Carlos Sandoval. See, I just made that name up. Carlos Sandoval didn't pitch for the Dodgers this year, but my point is they've used so many relievers to stockpile and cover the innings during the regular season that they just did not want to put themselves in a position where they were taking any risks as far as making guys pitch if they weren't at 100%. As soon as the check engine light went on, they took them off, right? And then you look at the guys that could be a part of this bullpen, that will make up this bullpen. Guys that haven't pitched a ton this year, that could be fresh down the stretch. Kirby Yates talked to us on Saturday, and one of the interesting things that he told us was that, hey, a lot of guys in August, they're not feeling good because you're in the dog days, they pitch a lot of innings. Kirby Yates said, I feel good because I haven't pitched as much as I typically do. So the Dodgers have the potential to have a lot of these guys feeling good because they've sacrificed some regular season success and stability by making sure they didn't have to waste bullets in the regular season. They wanted to keep those bullets for the postseason. So let's look at it. Who are the locks right now for the bullpen? Tanner Scott, lock. Blake Treinen, lock. Alex Vesia, lock. If he performs well and he's healthy, Kirby Yates, lock. Michael Kopech, if he pitches well, and we've seen him have some up and downs with his command during his rehab appearances, but that's par for the course for him and a lot of pitchers. You can't take too much from that. But that's already at 5. Michael Kopech, a guy who's missed a lot of time, should have a more fresh arm. Brock Stewart had a PRP injection, a cortisone injection. It's been really great against righties. If he comes back, he could be a weapon against righties. He should be a lock. That was their trade deadline acquisition. You have to assume that, especially because he's under team control for a couple years. Then Anthony Bonda, great last year through parts. I wouldn't call him a lock, but he's someone that certainly is going to get a long look, but he's covered a lot of innings. Then after that, Emmet Sheehan, Ben Kasparias, Edgardo Henriquez, Jack Dreyer was the third most F4 out of the bullpen in a 2.25 ERA. Roki Sasaki, how does he pitch? We asked Dave Roberts about Bobby Miller. I asked Dave on Saturday, is Bobby Miller an option out of the bullpen? And he said that yes, if the right opportunity presents itself, you could have Bobby Miller, who's been great down there. He's retired 21 of the last 23 batters he's faced. The velo's up to 99, up from 97 on average, and he's getting soft contact. He's pitching really well. Kyle Hurt's an option. So you look at all these guys out of this bullpen, and they still have the potential to have a nasty bullpen. Sure, Mason Miller is not walking through that door. Sure, Johan Durant isn't walking through that door. But guys that have pitched in the postseason have. Blake Trinan and Kirby Yates and Tanner Scott, Alex Vesia, guys that have that experience have. So if you asked me before the season, hey, D-Mac, you can rank the strengths of this team in which you would rather have. And I would say, well, one, give me starting rotation. And right now, this is the best the Dodgers starting rotation has looked and the deepest it's been and the highest ceiling it's had than any rotation that I can ever think of in the history of this organization. That's how good they have the potential to be. Yamamoto, Ohtani, Glasnow, Snell, Kirsch. When have you ever seen a Dodgers rotation with a big five like that? And then you go further. Okay, my second strength, I will take a lineup that features Shohei Ohtani and Will Smith and Teo and Mookie and gets Max Muncy back and has Tommy Edman and guys like that. And then this bullpen still has a lot of upside and talent and guys who are going to peak at the right time. So I think this was a brilliant move by the Dodgers. I think last year they saw the effects of having just 2.5 starters to win a World Series, and they were petrified this year to have to experience that again. And they realized they have enough depth to get it done. So I still think this bullpen, who we saw this weekend, when the focus is elevated and it is time to go out there and ball out, that they're still capable of doing that. So I think that the Dodgers made a concerted effort to do this all season. They let guys, they use these guys like they're rented cars, right? I mean, they're just like, okay, they're disposable pitchers. And they filled up most of these innings. And yeah, some of that had to do with guys that were injured. And yeah, it had to also do with the fact that the starting rotation had guys that were injured. But I also think, too, that they weren't going to push the guys that they knew they were going to need in October. And if there was any sign of injury issues with them, they were always going to pull the plug. And I think that they are going to be the most fresh team. Blake Snell, Glasnow, Shohei could have pitched earlier. He didn't. Yamamoto is now on 6 days rest, so that should help. And that's why this team is all built for October, right? Padres, built for July, right? Built for August. Built for the first 2 weeks of August, right? Dodgers is a different story. I think they're built for this month. And a couple injury updates I want to get into. Really quick here. We've got Kike Hernández, a really good development for Kike Hernández is he took live BP yesterday, was swinging the bat. That was the big box they needed to check off with him. I talked to someone within the Dodgers on Saturday, and they told me that they're feeling really good about Kike Hernández, that he took a big step forward, and that they're still really, really optimistic that he's going to be able to help this team this year. And yesterday was a big step. He resumed on-field batting practice, and he's set to begin a rehab assignment with AAA Oklahoma City this week. Then Hyeseong Kim, he's also set to begin a rehab assignment this week. Kim's been out dealing with that shoulder injury, so he should start that this week. He's been on the IL since July 29th. He's got left shoulder bursitis. And I think the interesting thing about Hyeseong Kim is I like him as a guy coming off the bench, as a base runner, as a late game defensive substitution, potentially at the right position if things go that route. But I also think for him, you need to get him back as soon as possible to see how that bat's playing with that shoulder. Michael Kopech. He threw 24 pitches in his second rehab outing with AAA Oklahoma City on August 16th. He's been on the IL since July 1st with a right knee meniscectomy. Kirby Yates, lower back pain. He faced live hitters on August 16th. He's going to start a rehab assignment this week with AAA Oklahoma City. Tanner Scott, he threw a simulated game against hitters last week in Anaheim on August 15th. It was his first time doing that since going on the IL with that left elbow inflammation. He said to begin a rehab assignment this week with AAA Oklahoma City. Max Muncy is the one that we're going to get a bigger update on today. He got an MRI that revealed a grade 1 right oblique strain. He's expected to be out for much longer than 10 days. Hopefully he's ready before the end of the season. And even if it's not the DS, that you're just making sure that he can just continue to get healthier and be in a position to help this team at some point this year because they're going to need him. Today, they're going to do some more movement with him, and they're going to see how he's rotating. So I'm sure Dave Roberts will have an update today at Coors Field. Rogi Sasaki, who's still making his way back from that right shoulder impingement, has been out since May 13th. He threw 41 pitches in 2+ innings of work in his first rehab start. The velo was down 92-94. He was with the team this weekend. He's going to go back out and join the team in Oklahoma to make his next start. So we'll see how that goes. Brock Stewart, right shoulder inflammation. He's shut down from throwing for at least a week. He got that PRP and cortisone shot. He's going to be out for a couple of weeks, and we'll see how that plays. The other massive one from the position player side, there's two. It's Max Muncy and then this guy, Tommy Edman. So Tommy Edman's been out on the IL since August 4th, dealing with a right ankle sprain. He's going to be back hopefully at some time in September. I think the same rule applies that they've been doing towards the pitchers to him right now, is they do not want to rush him back. They want to make sure when he comes back that he's not going to get injured again, because he's going to have to play athletic positions, whether it be center field, whether it be shortstop, whether it be second base. He's dynamic as a base runner. So his style of play makes it where you want to be cautious with him, and they're going to resume baseball activities and ramp that up because he's already started to do that, but it's going to take a little longer for Tommy Edman. Okay, Brusdar Graterol is unlikely to come back. Tony Gonsolin, he's gone for the season. He'll be back next year, hopefully. Evan Phillips, Kyle Hurt could come back. That's the interesting one. Kyle Hurt, we're going to monitor that. He's been throwing down to Arizona, so I'm going to ask Dave about him coming up when I'll probably go down to San Diego, so we'll see him then. But all right, guys, 7th inning stretch. All your thoughts, comments, and questions about your boys in blue. Fire away, chat.
The 7th inning stretch.
All right, we got Mr. Skinny Jeans, 999-499. Who should be the Dodgers closer? Trinan doesn't look right. Vesia gets too rattled. Who do you think, D-Mac? Well, first of all, did Vesia look rattled yesterday? I mean, you guys know my take. I've said this for months. Shohei Ohtani is going to get at least 1, possibly 2 saves in clinching situations, whether the NLDS, the NLCS, or the World Series. So they have that ace up their sleeves when they want to use it. But also the Dodgers are going to play matchups. You're going to use guys in leverage situations. Tanner Scott is going to be the big domino because he still leads the team with 19 saves this season. And when he comes back, it'll be interesting to see how they deploy him with Blake Trinan at the same time. So they haven't had a bullpen with Blake Trinan and Tanner Scott at the same time for long stretches. So I still think they're going to play matchups, and hopefully you're in a position where it's a Tanner Scott, Blake Trinan thing. I mean, we saw in the NLDS, it was Blake Trinan, right? We saw in the World Series, it was Walker Buehler. So you don't want to have yourself with one closer. I know it's a very old school baseball thought. Oh, give me the guy that can get those final 3 outs. It's a different mindset. For me, it's, I don't know, the guy in the 8th inning who's facing the top of the lineup with runners on is a guy that's more valuable than the guy in the 9th inning who gets a clean inning against the bottom half of the lineup. So I still think that you play leverage. And who's my closer? My closer is CBC, closer by committee. We've got to bring back Unc Prejo Pascal from Ray Soto. We got Nando D-Mac rapping. It's like Mark Madsen dancing. Oh my gosh. I remember when he was speaking Spanish. and dancing. Mark Madsen at that Lakers parade. Nice pull, though. I'm over here dancing a D-Max remix from Dodger for Life. Oh, if you say Dodger for Life, you get one of these. Dodger for Life! We got Yo D-Mac. This is from JNTHXN. Yo D-Mac, is Ohtani Kersh piggyback a possibility for the playoffs? I think that would be a nasty combination considering how different they both are. I was thinking about that the other day, and I certainly think it's something that they should consider because if you guys know, I've said this for months. Shohei Ohtani, if he comes back, pitches like he can, that he should be the game one starter. One, because when it comes to pure stuff, he's the dude throwing 101. And also, he's the dude who has the nasty sweeper and splitter. But also, if you allow him pitch game one, then he focuses on hitting for the rest of the series. And then you can use him out of the bullpen potentially in a clinching situation at the end of the series. But with Clayton Kershaw, you look at the DS, you look at the CS, you only need 4 starters. And yes, Shohei is only going to give you 5 innings. But after that, it's Yamamoto, Glasnow, and Snell. So where does Kersh fit in? A guy coming out of the bullpen? I think in a high leverage situation where it's a 1-inning opportunity, I'm not too keen on that. I don't want to have that nightmare feel and think of what happened in 2019. Don't want to think about that again. Juan Soto, Rendon, I can't live through that again. But in a piggyback situation where he's built up to give you multiple innings, maybe you go Shohei 4-5 or Shohei 4 and then Kersh 5, 6, 7. Then you go 8, 9 and you start kind of counting outs and everything changes, right? I mean, last year, starters went less than 5 innings per start in the postseason. And that number has gone down a lot in the last 30 years. It continues to go down. So the postseason is increasingly becoming a bullpen game. And it just makes you wonder if everything goes to plan with the rotation, where do you use Clayton Kershaw? And I think a situation like that would be interesting. But I like you bring up too the contrasting styles, right? If you're a hitter, you see Shohei's 101 from the right side, and then later in the game, you're seeing Clayton Kershaw's throwing 88, 89, 90, but he's dotting it with a nasty slider. Then yeah, that's a great different look. So I think that's a fantastic opportunity. I think another guy too you have to mention as a guy who could fit that role as well would be an Emmet Sheehan, a short burst guy, multiple innings. Jack Dreyer, Ben Kasparius. There's those guys that can give you multiple innings, but they're going to have to find a way to piece together a game with Shohei Ohtani because he's not going more than 5 innings. It's unlikely he's going to do that. We got El Machingon wants to know when, definitely not going to read that one, but come on now. We got to filter these comments a little more. IMS got this. Pryor needs to be let go after the season. Way too many pitching injuries under him. My question to you is, how often do you watch this show? Because if you did watch this show every day, you would not blame pitcher injuries on a specific individual within an organization. You would understand that this is a league-wide issue, that Tommy John surgeries and injuries to pitchers have gone through the roof in the last decade plus. Is that a Dodgers problem? No, that's a Major League Baseball problem. And the root of it is that pitchers are throwing at max effort every single pitch, not just velocity, but they're also trying to throw it with the most spin. And the Dodgers, they have access to the best pitchers because they have the most money, because they draft and develop well, and the best pitchers are the ones that throw the hardest. They're the ones that throw with the most spin, and those are the guys that are susceptible to injuries the most. So that is a compressed version of the issue. But to say it's Mark Pryor, look, if you want to talk about the wing and the different releases, no. I mean, I talk to these pitchers too, and one thing they tell me is, hey, like, I'm going to go out there and try to be as nasty as I can on every pitch. And if something does happen with an injury, I was talking to Tyler Glasnow about this. If something does happen, I got the best doctors. I got Dr. Neil Elitroch, but I'm going to try to be at my best and dominate throwing 99 or 100 and being in major leagues versus throwing 93 and not getting injured and being in AAA, right? So what would you do in that situation? You would do the exact same thing, right? Get the bag, dominate, win. Jake the Panda, D-Mac, give me 3 players that could be X factors that we aren't really talking about now who could help us lock up the division, go back to back. I love that question. It's a great question. top of mind, I think instantly Tyler Glasnow is number one. That's number one with a bullet because you saw yesterday. I mean, the slider, the fastball, the way he can dominate hitters, has the biggest extension to the plate. If he's healthy and he pitches like he's capable of, he's right there with Snell and Yamamoto and Shohei. That's how good he is. So that'd be my number one X factor. Second X factor, I would say Michael Kopech, because he's the one guy that throws super gas, 102, 100, and has done it in the postseason. So that's a big X factor as well. And then the big one too, I think if you look at injury X factors, it's between Max Muncy and Tommy Edman. Just kind of talking to a couple of players over the weekend about oblique injuries. Yeah, I talked to someone and said, hey, I get an oblique injury. I don't even want to go and get out of bed and take a piss, let alone taking that bat against a dominant pitcher in the postseason. So we know Max Muncy is a quick healer. We know they have the best trainers in the game as far as getting him back to being in a position where he can take swings. But the big X factor is going to be, can you get Max Muncy healthy again? Because if you can, and you get the version of Mookie Betts that you got the last 2 weeks, and you get the version of Hyeseong Hernandez, who has hit 6 home runs and has an OPS of close to 900 since the last couple of weeks. If you get that offense with the Max Muncy we saw after you put on the glasses, then you're not going to have that many concerns about this offense's ability to score runs in the postseason. So those would be my 3 X factors. Love that question. Tyler Glasnow, Michael Kopech, and Max Muncy. Wild cards, I would say, though, Bobby Miller, Edgardo Henriquez, Tommy Edman, I think, injury-wise, too. Don't worry, I'm not going to say Buddy Kennedy. By the way, here's a fun fact about Buddy Kennedy. Do you guys see Buddy Kennedy, who had a couple strikeouts yesterday, start at third base? The Dodgers picked him up after the Toronto Blue Jays placed him on waivers. But Buddy Kennedy actually became the 2,000th player in Dodgers franchise history. The 2,000th player in Dodgers franchise history. And how about this? A mind-blowing fact. This is a Dodgers organization that's been around for over 100 years. That's Amateur Hour City. Look, I mean, this year, we have a Shohei Ohtani jersey, and that's it. And those are the fans that like to do the wave. So, yeah. By the way, you know the waves started at a college football game. I did a report on it one day. It was the Rose Bowl game. It was like Washington. I forgot, but it was actually started a college football game. D-Mac played Blake Snell's rap video, Claudia 11. He actually got some fire bars. I should talk to him about that. You guys like my bars from earlier? All right, guys. So we'll talk to you later. And definitely join in for the post-game show. Great to see the Dodgers back in first place. Oh, look at this from Jose Aguirre. Congodo had more hits than Manny Machado. Hey, you guys. If we flip to Congodo from Michael over Fordo, that would tell you that this guy has totally turned his season around. But more Dodger baseball after the game. Join us for the post-game show. Special thanks to producer Noel, always killing the game. And also to you guys that make this show the number one Dodgers podcast and Dodgers show on YouTube. If you haven't yet, subscribe to the channel. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the notification bell. Hit the like button for your Los Angeles Dodgers. And also, if you want to support the show, hit the like button, drop a comment down below. Join us for the post-game show. Go to gearup.la to buy all of our merchandise. Follow us on all of our social media, Instagram, X, Snapchat, TikTok, Blue Sky. Am I missing anything, Noel? Facebook,
man, everything. Facebook,
Danga, MySpace,
Threads
is big. Threads big on the street. So definitely do that. See you guys after the game. My name is Doug McKain. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMAC_LA. Remember that nothing, absolutely nothing, brings us together quite like Dodger baseball. And until next time, think blue, bleed blue, and I'm out.
Start the party, Los Angeles! Your Dodgers have won the World Series!
And when the upcoming winter gives way to spring,